right, I traded till 1:20 this morning, so I have a ton of slides to get through. I'll try to zip through it as fast as I can. So if we look at the 4-hour chart, we can see that the Trump rally has indeed brought us up to the top of the channel that I had drawn, and it looks like it is starting to lose a little bit of momentum. That also coincides with the 161.8% Fibonacci line that I had drawn in. So that is a possible place it might go up to and bounce off of. I seriously doubt it's going to get above that. It is also interesting, though, that we have hit the top of the channel, and you can see that like on the 1-hour chart right here. Now it's kind of tight right up in there, but it's possible that it may not quite get up to that point. If it does drop, we're looking at probably at this point kind of a shallow drop, I'm thinking, with the news being that excited, I guess, about what the markets, what the economy is doing, and I know it's been a lot of good news for the market lately, with the interest rates dropping and all. So anyway, all of that being said, I do think we're going to hit the bottom of the channel, but I don't think it's going to be like a big drop. I think it'll probably go flat and level out and maybe make a little bit of a drop, kind of like what we see right through here. And it will hit the bottom of the channel eventually. So I do think there's potential for it to drop as well. And there are a number of places that it could get to. The 100% Fibonacci line is one of them. But there's also all of the SMAs in the meantime. So, like I have always said, though, I mean, that's very long term. But what we are trading now is the short term. And what it looks like right now on the 15-minute chart and the 30-minute chart, I think we're kind of sitting at a support level, and it's probably going to bounce. And we can also see that on the very short-term chart here, that it looks like it's heading up here soon. So I got into a long. It went flat for a little while. I have a stop order in to make sure that it didn't drop much farther than that without getting me out. And let's see, I started trading at like 8:45 this morning, so a little bit later than usual. And then after I started trading, I was like, wow, this is really slow. And I realized it's Veterans Day. So it's going to be really slow today. And that did bear out. So I stayed in this trade actually for a very long time. As a matter of fact, it took forever to go up through here, and that just brought me just 2 ticks above where I'd gotten in, and now the MACD is just now starting to turn over and look like it might be tipping up. And it's 9:30. This is the time that the opening bell happened. So I would say that it's looking very likely that it's going to go up. I'm seeing the MACDs as well tipping up and looking like it's going to go up. I can see the candles on the 15-minute chart and the 30-minute chart. They all look pretty positive for going up. So I'm not regretting getting into a long at this point. But yes, I have hung on to this trade for a good 45 minutes, and it can get really boring and I get distracted. But anyway, okay, so here we go. I think it's probably going to at least get up to this point. I put in an exit order up there. I'd be super happy if it got up to that point. If it dropped down and stopped me out, I would lose $300, which is sad, but I am possibly going to make more like $400 if it gets up to that point. So these are great big trades, which is probably not the best. And I'll talk about that more in a minute. But anyway, so it dropped down to here, and I started to question whether it was going to continue to go up or not. That was a disappointing reaction. And you can see the candles are quite large. So it did bounce here. Gives me a little bit of hope. Came up almost to the point where I'd gotten in. Actually went above it again. Just a little bit. And then dropped back down again. And then it dropped back down to that point, and I got stopped out. So the first trade I made actually ended up being a pretty hefty loss. And I'm not totally shocked that it is dropping. So I'm trying to adjust my thinking here. And like I said, one of the things that I kind of changed my mind about when you get into a place where it's like we're kind of in a trend change situation here, where we're kind of peaked out, we're losing momentum very long term, even though it's very uptrending. You want to be really cautious and make smaller trades. I'm talking like $100 trades, and I have not been doing that this morning. So that is one thing that I kind of changed my tune on after a little while. All right, so I got into a long back there because it looked like it had bounced at this point, and put in an exit order, very small profit. Did not take, and it dropped back down, and I decided, nope, I think it's going to drop some more. So I switched at this point and did a reverse sort of order. The bad thing is, you can look at the 30-minute chart. We are sitting at a support level right here. It has broken through the support level on the 1-hour chart. And like I said, the 4-hour chart is really looking like it's downtrending. So I think it'll be okay, but this is maybe not the best place to do a reverse order. However, I did do it, got into a short here, and it did drop. So that was all good. I'm hoping that it will drop down to this point, but it went up. All right, so then I decided, no, I don't want to hang on to that. And I got out. $400 loss right now, 3 trades. And it is 10:15. So like I said, it's moving very, very slowly, and it's taking a while to make any decent moves. And I keep getting on the wrong side of it and riding it too far, and then I change my mind. So it's not going super well. I sat here and watched it for a while, trying to decide what to do next. And let's see, I ended up doing a short at this point because we can kind of see it is kind of downtrending. I have a really tight stop and limit order in. In fact, I did a bracketed order, which automatically puts those in, and they cancel each other out. So I'm hoping to go more short-term charts, short-term trades right now. Finally made that transition in my thinking. It's dropping. I canceled my stop, and I brought the limit order up. So we're looking at just $100 right here, and it took it. So now I'm a $300 loss, 4 trades. So that was good. Waited a little while until I saw that it had gone up and decided to do another short. Got in at this point and did not get taken, did not get filled. So I had to chase it down a little bit and put an exit order in down here at, I think, at a pretty reasonable spot. At, again, very small trade, just over $100. It did go up a little bit. It started to drop, and then went up a little bit more, then went up a lot. And I think somewhere along the line, let me go back here. Somewhere along the line, I did a reverse order, and I think it might have been right about here. So I did a reverse order. I think it was a little bit higher, actually, and got into a long because I was over a $500 loss at this time. And it looks like the MACDs on the main charts over here, the 5-minute and the 15-minute, are really going up. And so I can see the potential for it going up to this level right through here, which also kind of matches that level there. I think we've got a little bit more space to go up. So trying to make up for my losses still. Went up to that point and got out. So whittled it down to a $500 loss. And I'm glad I did, because it immediately dropped right back down, and you can see it right up to that SMA right there. So that was a pretty good resistance level. And because it dropped so quickly and a lot more speedily than it went up, I do think that there are a lot of bears in the market who are winning right now. And I do think that the potential for it getting down to that Fibonacci line down here, which also is kind of close to the SMA here, is pretty likely. And it is 10:44, which is a lot later than I usually trade, the length of time I like to trade. But I do think as the time goes on today, and it being very, very slow, I think I want to keep trading and try to whittle back those losses, because that's not the main reason. I want to keep trading because I think I know what it's doing now. As time goes on, we're definitely breaking through resistance levels or just dropping. I mean, we're breaking through the support levels. So I put in a short order here, so I thought it might get up there and get me filled there. It did not. It kept dropping. So I waited until it went up, and then it looks like I kind of changed my mind again because it held at that support. So I'm doing a long order at this point. The MACD on pretty much all the charts looks like that is true. That is a good way to think right now. It went up, and I placed an exit order here at a decent spot. That's almost $200 there, so it got filled. And this is the movement that I was actually expecting to make in the first place. I thought it would probably get up, and then I wanted to get into a short because generally speaking, I do think it's dropping. So I got into a short right there at this point, put an exit order in down at this point right here, way down there. That's a really good trade. And when it started to drop and then hesitate at that point, I got out, and that was a really good place to be. I've whittled my losses now down to 187, 8 trades, and it's 11:06. So now the question is, do I keep trading or not? And we decided to keep trading just because I felt like as time went on again, I really felt like I knew what the market was doing. I kept going back and double checking it. And I just was trying to aim for more small trades. So got into a long here, going to ride it up just a little tiny bit. It didn't cooperate very well there. Dropped down, started to come back up, and then it dropped down again. And at this point, I changed positions again. Unfortunately, I waited until it was like a $200 loss in that trade before I changed my mind. But I do think you need to just do what the candles say and not worry too much about the money part. You just need to trade the trend, trade the candles. So I got into a short. At this point, we'd broken through the support levels and hanging on through the rise here and looking good. MACDs are looking good. The 15-minute MACD is not looking so good. The 30 minutes, okay, it could still drop some more, but we are holding at support right through here. It's a little worrisome, but not out of the question. Dropped some more. I waited and waited, and then we finally broke through, and this is 12:18, so I can't remember when I said I got into this trade, but I sat here for a very, very long time. I did put in alerts so that, when I did walk away for a moment, I would be alerted to when it might be breaking through resistance and support levels. So that was my safety net. Okay, so it started to drop, and it broke through the lower point here, but we still have the lowest point over here that we need to get to. And I didn't wait for it to drop all the way down to that point. I just put my exit order in here because I thought it might bounce up, and then I didn't want to wait that out to chase it a little bit, but I did get out there. So that trade was not as good as it could have been, but I was being cautious, got out, and I'm ready to wait for it to go up and then get in another short. It did not get up very far, and in fact, the red candle that developed here happened very quickly, and it totally encompassed the last green candle. So I went ahead and got into a short and just thought, well, even if it does go up a little bit further, I think it's looking like it's going to drop even more certain. So I put that in there, and I put an exit order in down here, started to drop, and it was a beautiful thing. When it hesitated, I got out, and took a little while for that to fill, but I did, and I canceled this one down here. It went up just a little ways, and I tried to get into a short, but it started dropping so fast, kind of missed out on that, which is one reason that you don't necessarily want to get out when it starts to go up. I mean, there's always that chance that, you're going to miss out. But, I still think it's going to drop a little bit further. So I got into a short finally and put my exit order in down here, which was a little bit more risky because it was actually below the blue SMA here, even though it was just above the Fibonacci line. And I raised it up to the lowest that it hit right there, just briefly, and it's looking good. And it dropped all the way down to the Fibonacci line. I had gotten out before it got there, And so that was my 12th trade. And I ended up making $112.50 minus my commission. So it ended up $24.90 today. And it did indeed bounce off of that point. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So here's my trades. I traded till, like I said, 1:02 in the afternoon. So that was a really long trading day for not making any money. But it was Veterans Day. So I guess that's just the way it goes sometimes. I probably could have just not traded today and it would have been just fine. But at least I didn't lose money today. I actually made 8 out of the 12 trades were positive. And just looking through here, the highest loss or the highest trade that I made was $350. So that was big, but I've had bigger and that was reasonable, I would say. So anyway, that's today's trading.